on, sheep. Come on, girls. Ba. Ba. Come on, girls. Ba. Come on, girls. Ba. Come on, girls. Come on in. Ba. Ba. Come on. Everybody come in. Come on, girls.
So I gotta ask, am I hearing the crunch of corn?
Yes.
Wow.
Can you take that in? So I don't, as a general rule, I don't feed my sheep any grain. But we're entering into the time of year for me when I'm flushing my ewes. So what I'll do is I'll be giving a little bit extra protein in the form of some grain and maybe some alfalfa pellets leading up to when we're going to breed them. That way it gets their body on a cycle of having more nutrients. Potentially they will drop 2 eggs or more in their next cycle.
Do they, okay, so now these are the Katahdins?
These are Katahdins.
Okay, well, do
And
they?
these are all purebred Katahdins in this group. They come in different colors. Some of the colors are a throwback to some of the original crosses.
Now, 1970s, I want to say. Is that when this started here? Three or four different specific varieties, right? At least.
The Katahdins go back to the turn of the last century, back to Maine.
Okay, I'd heard they were from Maine, but I heard it was an interesting mix of a couple different kinds of hair sheep, and then they kind of experimented with Dorsets a little bit and a little couple of other things in there, but they dropped those. They wanted a little more meat on them at one point, right? And then they dropped that.
I'm not entirely sure what Mr. Peel's end goal was with the Katahdins. I know that the Katahdin Hair Sheep International website has some information there. I believe there's a publication on it as well. So again, I really couldn't tell you for sure what Mr. Peel, the original breeder, what his intents were, but
I think that multiple babies are one of the things that's common with this one too. Is that correct?
Yes, they're easy care sheep as far as they're good mothers, good mother instincts, raise their babies. Less likelihood of them abandoning their babies. We talked about the parasite resistance. They're really adaptable for parasite resistance. Of course, you don't have to shear them. As you can see right now, their hair is very thin. It'll start to fill in. There's one over here. If you can see, can you see this one right here? She's still got some remnants of her wool.
Yeah. So is that the norm, or is that an exception?
We've had kind of a funny year. See that one? She's got some remnants on her too. I don't know. I was going to try to grab some off. It pulls off, and we've actually had the driest 12 months since the 1930s here in this zone right here. Wow. And what I've noticed is rain early on tends to help it come out, and we didn't have a lot of that. But anyway, so that hair sheds out, and they'll be growing in more wool. Like this one right here, you can see she's starting to bring in another layer there.
But for the most part, this is the amount of hair that they have?
They get pretty fluffy. See, like this girl here, she's growing in her winter coat.
Okay.
She's getting pretty fluffy. Though they don't have curly wool like you'd think of with the wool sheep. Like that one right behind you, she's a particularly old one, that's why she's kind of bony, but she's got kind of curly wool, and that's kind of different. That's not the norm.
Interesting, isn't it? So parasite resistance, multiple babies, put on weight well. How do they forage? Are they pretty good at taking
great
anything
at foraging.
down? Do they eat things other than forbs and grass? Are they twig eaters too?
Yeah, well, let's just see if I can see a tree around here. But like these trees I've trimmed up, but any of the deciduous trees and bushes and stuff like that, if they like the taste of it, they'll strip it down.
Interesting.
And the Katahdins, I don't know if that's sheep in general, but my flock, they'll go out, we turn them loose into a new paddock, and there'll be one particular plant they decide they like to eat, and they'll eat all of it.
Yeah.
And then the next day it'll be something different, and the next day, like we had bindweed grown on some fences some years back, and they left alone, and I don't know if the plant changed a little bit, the temperature changed, whatever. One day they decided they wanted to eat it, stripped it all off in a day.
Wow.
It was all gone.
Wow.
And I know some plants go through different stages where they want to eat them, like the thistles that grows a noxious weed around here. There's a point in the spring when they must get particularly juicy, and the sheep will eat the vein underneath the leaves where the thorns aren't.
Yeah.
And they'll chew them right up.
Interesting.
Yeah. Come on, girls. Let's go. Come on. Each one of these little seed heads is kind of like a tomato. It's got like a squishy fruit inside there. And so they've been rooted up, going for the seeds and the bugs and stuff living underneath it.
Once they ingest it, does it seed itself, or is that it for the?
You know, when this particular sheep, when these Katahdin sheep ingest seeds for the most part, they seem to digest it. I don't think all sheep do that, and I'm pretty sure goats don't.
Okay, so one of the things that we found super interesting about St. Croix, and I understand the Katahdins have this too, all the Jamaican sort of
Caribbean,
the island,
yeah.
Caribbean,
Yeah.
the island sheep, they're great at ingesting parasites as well, and then having the eggs not take. So they use them as pasture cleaners. Is that what you found?
Well, I mean, again, choosing Katahdins on purpose because of their parasite resistance and their good mothers and so on. But yeah, definitely. I mean, there's that's a whole conversation in itself, parasite resistance and maintenance and so on. But I try to breed again for resistance to parasites. Now, like I tell everybody, parasite resistance starts to become unique to your area.
Yes.
And if you take them someplace else, there's no guarantee that they're going to be resistant there too.
With that specific breed, or all the above?
Well, with all the above. So, Katahdin, St. Croix, and so on have a propensity towards resistance. But if I've got ewes that are generationally raised here that are, super resistant to what we have here, you take them over to Missouri, 90 miles east of me, and you may have, your parasites will have evolved to be different than mine, and my sheep would take some generations to be resistant to what's there. Right?
Yeah, so there's a constant evolution of the bugs to try and
their life cycles move
capture
faster, so their evolution is faster.
Okay, so again, this is one of those things. I look at heritage breeds and I look at maintaining distinct genetic lines. You want those characteristics because you never know when you might need that animal over there to introduce into this flock here.
Right.
And as long as you have that availability, you don't have to use it, but
No, but that's a great point.
Yeah.
And so my dad lives just over the hill from me, and we both maintain fairly closed flocks, but my animals are not related to his animals because we've always thought in the back of our mind, push come to shove, if we have to, we'll do that. But as long as we still have access to get some decent rams once in a while to bring in to our bloodline as we see fit, we'll maintain separate flocks.
Yeah.
But yeah, for sure, because something could change, right? There could be some sort of huge logistical thing in the United States, or maybe a bunch of animals die off someplace, whatever.
Yeah. Though the example that one of the farmers said to me that I thought was it just encapsulated the concept was, he said it's like a cake. If you have all the ingredients separately, you can always make it a little sweeter, or you can put a little more eggs in it, or richer, or whatever. But the second you mix everything into one mix and store the mix, you have no way of altering the cake at any point in the future.
That's right.
So I just encapsulates the whole concept of why keeping these breeds separate for the location is just a smart thing for us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Come on, sheep. Bah. Come on, girls. Come on, girls. Bah. Come on.